let's talk math instruction. And specifically, how can we use AI to help us to teach kids new mathematical processes and the steps for solving problems? Now, there is a strong argument to be made that students need to understand mathematical concepts. They need to understand what the numbers mean and how they're taken apart and put together and how they interact with each other and all of that which we call numeracy. However, mathematical concepts can really only be understood when they are applied. They can only be mastered when students are able to apply them. And to apply them, they have to have a process. So the real question is, how can we use AI to help us teach new processes to students? So here we're going to use the example of the quadratic equation, but we could put anything in there, honestly. We could put in fractions, we can put in division, multiplication, multiplying fractions with different denominators, or all the different, all the way up through calculus and so forth. There's a process. So how do we get AI to help us to teach it to students and help students to master it so that eventually they get to understanding the concepts behind those numbers? So here, our example is quadratic equations. We'll put in whatever we need to put in for our content, whatever it turns out to be, and a little bit of context. Teaching 8th grade students, and we're going to try to answer the big question first, which is, why bother? Why should my students learn this? And how is this process used in the real world? What are the real world uses of the process? If we're going to ask kids to struggle with and try something new, we have to give them a reason to do it, right? So that's really what this first part is about. It's the beginning of our direct instruction to students as we help them to master these new mathematics processes. So here, 8th grade students, why, and what are real-world examples? So let's just see if our AI can help us to answer that question for students. All right, what do we have? They should learn how to solve it because of these reasons. Why should they learn it? What do they get out of it, and so forth? And once they have mastered it, here are some ways that it's actually used. Projectile motion, which is, how high does the ball go when you throw it, and how long until it lands, and how far does it go? And business and technology and environmental modeling and so forth. So there are some real uses for this process. What we can do is figure out which of these areas students might be interested in, and we can use that in the next step of our instruction. So let's take a look at the next step. That's simply the introduction for students. Now let's introduce the steps for solving the problems. What do I need as the teacher? I need step-by-step instructions. I need to know first this, then this, then this, then this. And I need some examples that I can use, some real-world examples that I can use to show students how to use that process. Here, I could modify this prompt to say real-world examples using sports or using agriculture or using finances or whatever the case may be, whatever is relevant to the students. Here, in this example, I'll just leave it up to the AI to pick some for me, and that'll be fine. But I think you're going to want to tailor it a bit more around the interests of your students. So, I need instructions, and I need to see how those instructions are applied in the real world. All right, here's a clear, student-friendly explanation. All right, that's the form, and there's the equation. Now, how do we solve it? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And now that I provided an overview of the steps, let's walk through it with those examples. Basketball is thrown. Its height in feet after t seconds is modeled by, and there's my example. So there's one good example right there. The area of a garden, there is another good example, something very tangible that the students could recognize and visualize in their heads as well, and how it's done. So, very nice. I'm sorry to interrupt for just a moment. If this strategy helps you save time, teach more effectively, or lead your school, please subscribe to the channel for practical, no-fluff strategies for educators. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with a colleague. On the other hand, if you're a principal or a PD lead looking to prepare your staff for the challenges and opportunities of AI, contact us to schedule customized interactive training grounded in what educators really need. And one more thing, please make sure to click our newsletter link in the description and get your free AI starter guide, plus monthly strategies, resources, and information for using AI to improve student achievement. Now, back to the video. This is all direct instruction, obviously. This is what I'm doing for the class, whether the whole class or a small group. Or maybe I've got some students who are advanced beyond the prior content and they're ready for the next step. Well, here is the next step for them. Okay, but it's still, this is direct instruction. This is me modeling and providing the examples and demonstrating the process. But eventually, we need to turn it over to the kids, and we need to give them a chance to try it themselves. But with some guidance and some modeling and some support that they can use on their own problems. So that brings us to our third prompt. Prompt number 3 is, let's create an instructional resource, a tool, a worksheet for solving this type of problem. And frankly, at this point, I could have said for solving this type of problem, so I didn't have to keep typing quadratic equations over and over again. So what do we want it to look like? At the top, I need a problem that students are going to work out for themselves. And I need a sample problem, which will be the model or the demonstration that they can follow. Then I need 3 columns. Column 1, give me the steps. Column 2, use that sample and walk through the steps as a model. And then column 3, a place where students are putting their own work on the problem that I want them to solve as well. So let's do this. I'm thinking that because it's the first time for these students, they're not ready to just go out and do it independently. Here are the steps. Off you go. Follow them. Let me guide you through with an example so you can see where the numbers actually go as you walk through the steps. And we've got that copied. So let's get our AI to create this resource for us. And 1, 2, 3. So date, time, all that kind of stuff. The problem to solve. So this is what the kids will work on. When will the ball hit the ground? Okay. And a sample that will be used to model. And then finally, here's where they're going to do their work. We've got column 1, the instruction. We've got the instruction applied to the sample. And now we've got the place for the students to do their own work. They can simply follow the instructions. They can follow the example that's provided as they're plugging in their own numbers. Now, eventually, we're going to move from this to instructions and their work. And finally, we'll just give the problem and we'll have them do their work, which they will turn in. We'll take a look at it and see whether or not they're mastering the process and can do it independently. But at the onset here, they need guidance and they need some modeling. So that middle column provides it for them very, very nicely. And, some extensions. What do the solutions to this problem mean in real life? Explain it in a sentence or 2. Now, one thing that I might do at this point is say, prepare this as a Word download with formatting, which it will do. The nice thing is I can do this over and over again all day. I can give them multiple versions of this with different problems to solve at the onset while they're first getting their hands into how to do this. And it'll take a moment to think, finally, but it eventually will give us a nice sheet that we can then print, copy, and put in their hands to work on in their small groups. I don't have the patience to wait for this, so that's what it's going to do. Oh, there we go. All right, let's try it since it's here. And open it. And blow it up a little bit. That's great. Etc., etc., etc. And that is how we can use AI to help us teach kids new mathematics processes. I hope you found this useful. Take care.